them. That's me with my family inside a Lebanese church during Mass. The Mass we celebrate is a Maronite Mass. I like it, but I can't really understand what the priest says. He speaks in Arabic, but it's different from the Arabic we speak at home. Mum says it sounds different because the priest uses the language that Jesus spoke a long time ago. We always go to church as a family. There's Grandma getting into the car. That's my dad at the wheel. And that's my mum. There's my brother Joseph and my sister Susanna. They're always fighting to see who's going to sit next to Grandma. Sometimes at home, we talk about the old days in Lebanon. Grandma has some great stories. It's spring in Lebanon now. Grandma says if we were still there, we'd be picking apples in the orchard. And Dad reckons he can almost smell the cedars.
I can almost smell them from here.
And I still miss the ringing of the church bells at the end of the day, says Mum.
When we were in Lebanon, at the end of each day, the priest would ring the church bells. And all the people would gather in the church for Mass. We would pray together as God's family. And we believed that the saints would gather with us and pray too. Saints like Saint Charbel. Saint Charbel is
Some saints are really important to the Lebanese, like Saint Charbel. Another really important saint is Saint Maroon. When we go to Mass, the priest often mentions Saint Maroon. I didn't really understand why Saint Maroon was so important until Grandma explained it to me.
And it's from Saint Maroon that we get the name Maronite. Saint Maroon was a hermit who lived near the town of Antioch. He used to spend most of his time praying and reading about Jesus in the Gospels. As a hermit, he lived a very simple life. He loved God more than anything else. People came to pray with him and to ask his help and advice. The people who followed his way of living came to be called Maronites. So, from that day on...
My brother Joseph has this map which shows where Saint Maroon lived and where the Maronite people came from.
There's Antioch in Syria. A long time ago, Antioch was a great city. That's where Saint Maroon lived. And the Maronites finally ended down here in the mountains of Lebanon.
Do you know why the Maronites left Antioch for Lebanon? Well, I'll tell you. Many years after Saint Maroon died, some of the Christians who lived around that area began to disagree with the Maronites. They wanted the Maronites to change what they believed about Jesus. It was a sad time when many Maronites were killed. They preferred to die rather than change what they believed about Jesus. So some of them decided to go and find a place where they could live in peace. They found a beautiful place, some mountains called White Mountains, or as we say in Arabic, Jabal Libnan. Libnan, that's where you get the name Lebanon. And it's these same white mountains that we know today as the north of Lebanon. It's there, up in the mountains, that the Maronites lived a very simple life.
I wondered whether any Maronites still lived there. Susanna just laughed and said, "Of course they do, silly. That's where we come from."
That's where we come from.
واليوم في لوف
Today, there are thousands of Maronites all over the world who follow the Catholic faith in the Maronite tradition. We're part of the tradition here in Australia.
التقاليد بإسرائيل.
Next week, we're going to a Maronite Mass in English. A lot of my friends go, and I'll be able to understand all the words. I like it when the family talks about the old days in Lebanon. It's good to learn about our tradition and things. Maybe one day I'll get to go and see Lebanon for myself. The White Mountains, the villages with their church bells. I could see the village where Mum and Dad grew up, and the corner where Grandma first met Grandpa, and maybe even walk down the street where Joseph and I used to run and play, although I can't really remember that too well. I'm glad Grandma and Mum and Dad have so many stories.
والبرد اللي يعملوا بطنين وقت كنا بلبنان كان الخور يدق جرس الكنيسة عند المساء كل الناس كانوا
خلاهم يقرروا يروحوا ويطلعوا عن
Oh.